Hare Krishna. My dear devotees, welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books, right here in the live studios in Hythe, Kent, Southeast England, just near the English Channel. We've set up a little BBT enclave, preparing books for release as audio books, and tasting Srila Prabhupada's pleasure, because he really, really liked publishing when his books were published. And this is a new way to publish his books. In the meantime, we're reading the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam together every day, and we've just been hearing some wonderful quotes from Radharaman Prabhu, who's also here as one of our exalted guests, along with Dolmore from London Temple, TP, new TP. And we were remarking that this is the most direct reading of Prabhupada's books you can find daily, at least every day, on the internet, perhaps. We haven't checked out everything, but there's a good chance that this is the most you can hear directly Srila Prabhupada's books read, cover to cover, every day. So having said that, we'll recite Śrīmad-Bhāgavata Mahima Stotram by Srila Sanatana Goswami, who happened to get the most one-on-one instructions from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly than any other person on the earth. 2 months straight he explained the Krishna conscious philosophy and science A to Z. And as a result, part of which was a result, Srila Sanatana Goswami compiled this stotra glorifying the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And it goes like this. Sarva Shastra Dipiyusha Sarva Vedaika Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Śrīmad-Bhāgavata Prabho Kali Dvanduditaditya Sri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshakshadayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Sri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madeka Bando Matsangin Madgudo Man Mahadana Man Nisdadaga Mad Bhagya Mad Anandanamostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu saduta dayin Adini chochata kada Hanamuncha gadachin mam Premna rit kantayakspura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, on this auspicious Sunday, 16th January 2022, we will begin chapter 8 of the first canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Prayers by Queen Kunti and Parīkṣit Saved. The ongoing prelude to the Bhagavatam, the history of how the Bhagavatam was first spoken to Maharaj Parīkṣit. Text 1. Sutta Goswami said, thereafter, the Pandavas, desiring to deliver water to the dead relatives who had desired it, went to the Ganges with Draupadi. The ladies walked in front. Purport. To date, it is the custom of Hindu society to go to the Ganges or any other sacred river to take bath when death occurs in the family. Each of the family members pours out a pot full of the Ganges water for the departed soul and walks in a procession with the ladies in front. The Pandavas also followed the rules more than 5,000 years ago. Lord Krishna, being a cousin of the Pandavas, was also amongst the family members. Abhay, could you crack the window? Thank you. Text 2. Having greatly lamented over them and offered Ganges water, they again bathed in the Ganges, whose water is sanctified due to being mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. Text 3. There sat the king of the Kurus, Maharaj Yudhishthir, along with his younger brothers, and Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kunti, and Draupadi, all overwhelmed with grief. Lord Krishna was also there. Purport. The Battle of Kurukshetra was fought between family members, and thus all affected persons were also family members, like Maharaj Yudhishthir and his brothers, Kunti, Draupadi, Subhadra, Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, and her daughters-in-law, and so on. All the principal dead bodies were in some way or other related with each other, and therefore the family grief was combined. Lord Krishna was also one of them as a cousin of the Pandavas and nephew of Kunti, as well as brother of Subhadra, and so on. The Lord therefore was equally sympathetic toward all of them, and therefore he began to pacify them befittingly. Text 4. Citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and their reactions upon living beings, Lord Sri Krishna and the Munis began to pacify those who were shocked and affected. Purport. The stringent laws of nature, under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cannot be altered by any living entity. The living entities are eternally under the subjugation of the Almighty Lord. The Lord makes all the laws and orders, and these laws and orders are generally called dharma, or religion. No one can create any religious formula. Bona fide religion is to abide by the orders of the Lord. The Lord's orders are clearly declared in the Bhagavad Gita. Everyone should follow him only, or his orders, and that will make all happy, both materially and spiritually. As long as we are in the material world, our duty is to follow the orders of the Lord. And if by the grace of the Lord we are liberated from the clutches of the material world, then in our liberated stage also we can render transcendental loving service unto the Lord. In our material stage, we can see neither ourselves nor the Lord, for want of spiritual vision. But when we are liberated from material affection and are situated in our original spiritual form, we can see both ourselves and the Lord face to face. Mukti means to be reinstated in one's original spiritual status after giving up the material conception of life. Therefore, human life is specifically meant for qualifying ourselves for this spiritual liberty. Unfortunately, under the influence of illusory material energy, we accept this spot life of only a few years as our permanent existence, and thus become illusioned by possessing so-called country, home, land, children, wife, community, wealth, and so on, which are false representations created by Maya, illusion. And under the dictation of Maya, we fight with one another to protect. And under the dictation of Maya, we fight with one another to protect these false possessions. By cultivating spiritual knowledge, we can realize that we have nothing to do with all this material paraphernalia. Then at once we become free from material attachment. This clearance of the misgivings of material existence at once takes place by association with the Lord's devotees, who are able to inject the transcendental sound into the depths of the bewildered heart, and thus make one practically liberated from all lamentation and illusion. That is a summary of the pacifying measures for those affected by the reaction of stringent material laws exhibited in the forms of birth, death, old age, and disease, which are insoluble factors of material existence. The victims of war, namely the family members of the Kurus, were lamenting the problems of death, and the Lord pacified them on the basis of knowledge. Text 5. The clever Duryodhana. The clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthir, who had no enemy. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the unscrupulous kings who joined with Duryodhana were killed by him. Others also died, their duration of life having decreased for their rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi. Purport. In the glorious days, or before the advent of the age of Kali, the Brahmanas, the cows, the women, the children, and the old men were properly given protection. 1. The protection of the Brahmanas maintains the institution of Varna and Ashrama, the most scientific culture for attainment of spiritual life. 2. The protection of cows maintains the most miraculous form of food, that is, milk, for maintaining the finer tissues of the brain for understanding higher aims of life. 3. The protection of women maintains the chastity of society, by which we can get a good generation for peace, tranquility, and progress of life. 4. The protection of children gives the human form of life its best chance to prepare the way of liberty from material bondage. Such protection of children begins from the very day of begetting a child by the purificatory process of Garbhadana Sanskara, the beginning of pure life. 5. The protection of old men gives them a chance to prepare themselves for better life after death. This complete outlook is based on factors leading to successful humanity, as against the civilization of polished cats and dogs. The killing of the above-mentioned innocent creatures is totally forbidden, because even by insulting them, one loses one's duration of life. In the age of Kali, they are not properly protected, and therefore the duration of life of the present generation has shortened considerably. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that when the women become unchaste for want of proper protection, there are unwanted children called Varna Sankara. To insult a chaste woman means to bring about disaster in the duration of life. Dushasana, a brother of Duryodhana, insulted Draupadi, an ideal chaste lady, and therefore the miscreants died untimely. These are some of the stringent laws of the Lord mentioned above. Text 6. Lord Sri Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashwamedha Yagyas, horse sacrifices, to be conducted by Maharaj Yudhishthira, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. Purport. This is something like the preface to the performances of Ashwamedha Yagya by Maharaj Yudhishthira. The comparison of Maharaj Yudhishthira to the King of Heaven is significant. The King of Heaven is thousands and thousands of times greater than Maharaj Yudhishthira in opulence. Yet the fame of Maharaj Yudhishthira was not less. The reason is that Maharaj Yudhishthira was a pure devotee of the Lord, and by his grace only was King Yudhishthira on the level of the King of Heaven, even though he performed only 3 yagyas, whereas the King of Heaven performed hundreds. That is the prerogative of the devotee of the Lord. The Lord is equal to everyone, but a devotee of the Lord is more glorified because he is always in touch with the All-Great. The sun rays are equally distributed, but still there are some places which are always dark. This is not due to the sun, but to those places' lack of receptive power for the sun rays. Similarly, those who are cent% devotees of the Lord get the full-fledged mercy of the Lord, which is always equally distributed everywhere. Text 7. Lord Sri Krishna then prepared for his departure. He invited the sons of Pandu, after having been worshipped by the Brahmanas, headed by Srila Vyasadeva. The Lord also reciprocated greetings. Purport. Apparently, Lord Sri Krishna was a Kshatriya and was not worshipable by the Brahmanas. But the Brahmanas present there, headed by Srila Vyasadeva, all knew him to be the personality of Godhead, and therefore they worshipped him. The Lord reciprocated the greetings just to honor the social order, that a Kshatriya is obedient to the orders of the Brahmanas. Although Lord Sri Krishna was always offered the respects due the Supreme Lord from all responsible quarters, the Lord never deviated from the customary usages between the 4 orders of society. The Lord purposefully observed all these social customs so that others would follow him in the future. Text 8. As soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwaraka, he saw Uttara hurrying toward him in fear. Purport. All the members of the family of the Pandavas were completely dependent on the protection of the Lord, and therefore the Lord protected all of them in all circumstances. The Lord protects everyone, but one who depends completely upon him is especially looked after by the Lord. The father is more attentive to the little son who is exclusively dependent on the father. Text 9. Uttara said, O Lord of Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me. Protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. Purport. This material world is the world of duality, in contrast with the oneness of the absolute realm. The world of duality is composed of matter and spirit, whereas the absolute world is complete spirit without any tinge of the material qualities. In the dual world, everyone is falsely trying to become the master of the world, whereas in the absolute world, the Lord is the absolute Lord, and all others are his absolute servitors. In the world of duality, everyone is envious of all others, and death is inevitable due to the dual existence of matter and spirit. The Lord is the only shelter of fearlessness for the surrendered soul. One cannot save himself from the cruel hands of death in the material world without having surrendered himself at the lotus feet of the Lord. Text 10. O my Lord, you are all-powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally, if you so desire, but please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, my Lord. Purport. This incident took place after the death of Abhimanyu, the husband of Uttara. Abhimanyu's widow, Uttara, should have followed the path of her husband, but because she was pregnant and Maharaj Parīkṣit, a great devotee of the Lord, was lying in embryo, she was responsible for his protection. The mother of a child has a great responsibility in giving all protection to the child, and therefore Uttara was not ashamed to express this frankly before Lord Krishna. Uttara was the daughter of a great king, the wife of a great hero, and student of a great devotee. And later, she was the mother of a good king also. She was fortunate in every respect. Text 11. Sutta Goswami said, having patiently heard her words, Lord Sri Krishna, who was always very affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandava family. Purport. The Lord is impartial in every respect, but still he is inclined towards his devotees because there is a great necessity of this for everyone's well-being. The Pandava family was a family of devotees, and therefore the Lord wanted them to rule the world. That was the reason he vanquished the rule of the company of Duryodhana and established the rule of Maharaj Yudhishthira. Therefore he also wanted to protect Maharaj Parīkṣit, who was lying in embryo. He did not like the idea that the world should be without the Pandavas, the ideal family of devotees. Text 12. O foremost among the great thinkers, Munis, Shaunaka, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons when they saw the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them. Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. I'm missing the last part of this sentence. Could you hand me the Bhagavatam? quickly. This is a what we call an NFO, Veda-based error. Please don't mind. Be patient with me. This will just take a second, don't mind. It's important. What? Whoops. Oh, I see. This is part of my service, so please forgive me for wasting your time. Okay. O foremost among the great thinkers, Munis, Shonaka, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons when they saw the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them. The Pandavas took up their 5 respective... Oh, I see. Now I see why they did that. Okay. Krishna. O foremost among the great thinkers, Munis, Shonaka, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons when they saw the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them. Purport. The Brahmastras are finer than the nuclear weapons. Ashwatthama discharged the Brahmastra simply to kill the Pandavas, namely the 5 brothers headed by Maharaj Yudhishthir and their only grandson, who was lying within the womb of Uttara. Therefore the Brahmastra, more effective and finer than the atomic weapons, was not as blind as the atomic bombs. When the atomic bombs are discharged, they do not discriminate between the target and others. Mainly the atomic bombs do harm to the innocent because there is no control. The Brahmastra is not like that. It marks out the target and proceeds accordingly without harming the innocent. Text 13. The Almighty Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, having observed that a great danger was befalling his unalloyed devotees, who were fully surrendered souls, at once took up his Sudarshan disc to protect them. Purport. The Brahmastra, the supreme weapon released by Ashwatthama, was something similar to the nuclear weapon, but with more radiation and heat. This Brahmastra is the product of a more subtle science, being the product of a finer sound, a mantra recorded in the Vedas. Another advantage of this weapon is that it is not blind like the nuclear weapon, because it can be directed only to the target and nothing else. Ashwatthama released the weapon just to finish all the male members of Pandu's family. Therefore, in one sense, it was more dangerous than the atomic bombs, because it could penetrate even the most protected place and would never miss the target. Knowing all this, Lord Sri Krishna at once took up his personal weapon to protect his devotees, who did not know anyone other than Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord has clearly promised that his devotees are never to be vanquished, and he behaves according to the quality or degree of the devotional service rendered by the devotees. Here the word Ananya Vishayat Manam is significant. The Pandavas were 100% dependent on the protection of the Lord, although they were all great warriors themselves. But the Lord neglects even the greatest warriors and also vanquishes them in no time. When the Lord saw that there was no time for the Pandavas to counteract the Brahmastra of Ashwatthama, he took up his weapon, even at the risk of breaking his own vow. Although the battle of Kurukshetra was almost finished, still, according to his vow, he should not have taken up his own weapon. But the emergency was more important than the vow. He is better known as Bhaktavatsala, the lover of his devotees, and thus he preferred to continue as Bhaktavatsala than to be a worldly moralist who never breaks his false solemn vow. Text 14. The Lord of Supreme Mysticism, Sri Krishna, resides within everyone's heart as the Paramatma. As such, just to protect the progeny of the Kuru dynasty, he covered the embryo of Uttara by his personal energy. Purport. The Lord of Supreme Mysticism can simultaneously reside within everyone's heart, or even within the atoms, by his Paramatma feature, his plenary portion. Therefore, from within the body of Uttara, he covered the embryo to save Maharaj Parīkṣit and protect the progeny of Maharaj Kuru, of whom King Pandu was also a descendant. Both the sons of Dhritarashtra and those of Pandu belonged to the same dynasty of Maharaj Kuru. Therefore, both of them were generally known as Kurus. But when there were differences between the two families, the sons of Dhritarashtra were known as Kurus, whereas the sons of Pandu were known as Pandavas. Since the sons and grandsons of Dhritarashtra were all killed in the battle of Kurukshetra, the last son of the dynasty is designated as the son of the Kurus. Text 15. O Shonaka, glory of Bhrigu's family, although the supreme Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama was irresistible and without check or counteraction, it was neutralized and foiled when confronted by the strength of Vishnu, Lord Krishna. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita it is said that the Brahmajyoti, or the glowing transcendental effulgence, is resting on Lord Sri Krishna. In other words, the glowing effulgence, known as the Brahma Tejas, is nothing but the rays of the Lord, just as the sun rays are rays of the sun disk. So this Brahma weapon also, although materially irresistible, could not surpass the supreme strength of the Lord. The weapon called Brahmastra, released by Ashwatthama, was neutralized and foiled by Lord Sri Krishna by his own energy. That is to say, he did not wait for any other's help because he is absolute. Text 16. O Brahmanas, do not think this to be especially wonderful in the activities of the mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. By his own transcendental energy, he creates, maintains, and annihilates all material things, although he himself is unborn. Purport. The activities of the Lord are always inconceivable to the tiny brain of the living entities. Nothing is impossible for the Supreme Lord, but all his actions are wonderful for us. And thus he is always beyond the range of our conceivable limits. The Lord is all-powerful, all-perfect. The Lord is the all-powerful, all-perfect personality of Godhead. The Lord is 100% perfect, whereas others, namely Narayana, Brahma, Shiva, the demigods, and all other living beings, possess only different percentages of such perfection. No one is equal to or greater than him. He is unrivaled. And we'll stop our reading today there, and we'll start with text 17 tomorrow. Because then now we're going to start the prayers of Queen Kunti. Huh?
I was just going to say there's only 2 verses left with one short purport.
In the chapter?
Mm-hmm.
Prayers by Queen Kunti?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's different on the database here.
I don't think so.
That's until the prayers begin.
That's until the prayers begin.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's quite all right. It is your duty. You are the, what's the word of the Brahmana who checks the sacrifice? Can't remember. There's a special Brahman who's the checker. That's Abhaya Das Brahmachari, our checker.
Amongst his many talents.
Many talents. Uncountable. Okay, we'll stop here and we'll begin with text 17. Now we invite all of the sages to please give their reflections, bearing in mind that we don't want to go too much over an hour. And right now we're at 7:50, but we didn't start until a little late. So we have another 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So please shower us with your reflections and blessings.
Rati Manjari says, Jai Guru Maharaj.
Jai Rati, Hare Krishna, glories to Prabhupada.
And Gopakanya Devi Dasi.
Gopakanya Devi Dasi says,
Hare Krishna, dear Maharaj, and all assembled devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
all glories is to His divine grace. And thank you for your steady attendance in this daily readings. Thank you.
And Sudevi Dasi says, Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Sudevi Dasi, Hare Bol.
And Bhakta Jason says, Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances.
Jai Bhakta Jason, he's from Dallas. Sudevi is from Florida.
And something from Braj Balaba.
Braj, Hare Bol. Sorry I missed your call earlier.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I am certain when the dust settled after the battle, those without knowledge must have been completely stunned by the carnage. This is why proper knowledge allows us to understand how to view all events.
Yes.
I have to say it seems hard to understand the absolute world, since our practical experience is duality, except when with devotees, then it is a different situation.
And that is why the devotees are essential. Living with the devotees are essential. Associating with the devotees is essential. Hearing these scriptures together with the devotees is essential.
And here's one more comment. There is one more point I was thinking. In the 17th chapter of Gita, there is discussion about the 5 factors of action, and the one here is Supersoul, or Krishna. Even though the Kurus so badly wanted to rule everything, it was not in the cards. The attachment is what did them in.
Exactly, precisely. And as we heard in the purport just now, Krishna wanted that the divine mentality of the Pandavas would rule the earth. And he did that at all costs, such a big cost, which shows the actual importance of the association of Vaishnavas. We should get the association of Vaishnavas at all costs. Hare Krishna.
From Anandamurti Devidasi.
Hari Bol Anandamurti.
Dear Guru Maharaj and all assembled devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sri Krishna chose to be Bhakta Vatsala rather than to be a worldly moralist. Hare Krishna, thank you so much.
Thank you, very good. Precise, concise, essential truth spoken concisely is true eloquence. Very nice. Thank you for that reflection, remembrance.
And from Vrajaloka.
Jai Brajaloka, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you. Thank you for today's reading. It was very wonderful to hear about Krishna's love and care for his 100% surrendered devotees. His love was so strong that he did not hesitate to break his own vow. Quote, he preferred to continue as Bhakta Vatsala than to be a worldly moralist who never breaks his solemn vow.
Precisely. Precisely. Thank you very much.
Subbarao Rajagopal.
Subbarao Rajagopal, Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thanks for the reading which enables us to do Shravanam. Quote, and he behaves according to the quality or degree of the devotional service rendered by the devotees. Unquote. Ye yatamang prapadyante tang sathaiva bhajamyaham.
Yes, it's true. And Prabhupada explains that if a person hates Krishna, then he will respond not with hate, but with action that is fitting for that mood. And if a person loves him, he will respond with action fitting for that mood. So, however, if a person's neutral and doesn't even acknowledge his existence, he'll just ignore them, thereby fulfilling everyone's desires.
From Rati Manjari.
Haribol Rati.
Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. Tonight I love to hear how Lord Krishna stood by his devotees in their loss, both by his presence and by philosophy. I loved how he understood their distress and supported the Pandavas.
Absolutely.
We also heard about the next heinous crime of Ashwatthama, attempting to kill all the male members of the Pandavas, up to the embryo of Maharaj Parīkṣit. Previously we heard about how Ashwatthama was punished by being humiliated. Apparently the punishment did not stop him to go on sinning. How should we understand this?
Well, the chronology is not completely clear here. Not all of the sequence of events in the Bhagavatam are always sequential. Sometimes one chapter is, or part of a chapter even, is before another one. So I can't really say for sure, actually. I'm not a scholar myself, and I haven't delved deeply into that subject. But even if it's true that he was able to throw that Brahmastra after he had been exiled, which is possible, although he was diminished in all ways, and I would imagine that he was diminished also in his power, to throw that weapon, because only persons who are really especially situated can throw that weapon. But but even if it was true, then Krishna's response is proper and edifying for everyone. It's clear that he sent two Brahmastras. That's clear, because one of them was dealt by Arjuna and the other one was dealt by Krishna. Hare Krishna.
From Daityari Hari.
Daityari Hari.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the reading tonight. I really like the point tonight relating to Uttara, that, quote, the Lord protects everyone, but one who depends completely upon him is especially looked after by the Lord. The father is more attentive to the little son who is exclusively dependent on the father. Unquote. I've often heard Devamrita Swami say, being able to call out to Krishna like a baby for its mother is the mood we should strive for in chanting.
Yes, just as I was going to say. Yes.
Dayalu made a nice point in class a few days ago when he said that we should beg to be empowered to call out to Krishna for help with sincere feeling. I'd really like to be like this.
Yeah, Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayed or sang that if you can beg for the holy name of the Lord to be able to chant offenselessly, then you'll be successful. We should beg for the holy name. Hare Krishna.
And from Gauranga Gopal.
Gauranga Gopal ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Conqueror.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you so much for reading tonight, every night. I really feel like being at the movies, totally awestruck with the blockbuster of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam that we are watching through our ears. Krishna loves his devotees so much that he is ready to break his vows to protect them. Only his devotees can understand why he does it, and this quality increases our love for him so much.
That was a wonderful reflection. It requires no further comment. Thank you very much.
And Rati Manjari?
Haribo Rati.
She says, thank you. I was wondering what the fate of Ashwatthama was going to be after this act. Is it known what happened to him after this?
Well, we know that he's still alive, and he's still in exile, and that he was so purified by this punishment that later he will become either a Manu or a Vyasadeva later on in some other future yuga. Because whoever Ashwatthama was and whatever he did, he's still a soul, and once he's purified, he becomes eligible for anything. So we should all learn from this. We should all learn from this. Whatever we think we are, whatever we've done, we're a spiritual soul. And if we engage ourselves in devotional service without ulterior motives, without trying to aggrandize ourselves, then we can perform to pure devotional service. Any, as what was it Prabhupada said, any man, woman, or child can take the holy name of the Lord. That is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. He's given us the goal and the ability to chant Hare Krishna right from the get-go. That's our Purāṣaya, or our purificatory. We were talking about this afternoon. You know, you have to do so many purificatory rites in order to become eligible to chant the holy name of the Lord. But here, Lord Chaitanya has given the purificatory rite just to chant Hare Krishna for a year. Then you can get the holy name through the parampara. The holy name doesn't wait even for initiation. Liberated soul can go back to Godhead just by chanting Hare Krishna, even without initiation. But we are not liberated souls. Therefore, we must take initiation. Hare Krishna.
Rati Manjari commented, amazing.
It is amazing. Anything from our illustrious guests? Radharaman's going to enlighten us further.
Well, it's actually nothing that's relevant to exactly what we read, but it was just more
Creative intelligence speaking. Everybody listen up.
just more. I don't know if I hope I haven't lost the place, but I have. But more comment on what you were talking about earlier about broadcasting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and there's those very nice words at the end of Chaitanya Charitamrita, but there's also a very nice section at the beginning of the 8th canto, where Prabhupada is saying, I don't know how much time there is. Let's read this paragraph. It's a long paragraph. Prabhupada gives the history of his book publication in the service of his spiritual master. I could just read the end part.
Yeah.
And
this is, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the concluding words to the Chaitanya Charitamrita that he's about to read from.
This particular one is actually the other time, which is the 8th canto of
this is the 8th canto.
Yeah, at the beginning of the 8th canto. I'm continuously trying to publish books. He's already given the whole history from when he met Bhaktisiddhanta. I'm continuously trying to publish books as suggested by my spiritual master. Now in this year, 1976, I've completed the 7th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and a summary of the 10th canto has already been published as Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Still the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th canto are yet to be published. So on this occasion, therefore, I am praying to my spiritual master to give me the strength to finish this work. I am neither a great scholar nor a great devotee. I am simply a humble servant of my spiritual master.
Hare Krishna.
And to the best of my ability, I am trying to please him by publishing these books with the cooperation of my disciples in America. Fortunately, scholars all over the world are appreciating these publications, so let us cooperatively publish more and more volumes of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, just to please His Divine Grace. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
BBT Audiobook Publications Key Jai. When I was recording Chaitanya Charitamrita, I came upon a similar section in which Srila Prabhupada was explaining how he felt when one of his books was published. And he said, it's his life. It gives him life. It's his life and soul. when his books are published and distributed. His movement is meant to be what do they call it? An organ or a society that is meant to give these books and this philosophy to human society. That's the only purpose for it. And with that, I'm going to, end the readings tonight, because we're already past an hour. We're about an hour. Thank you so much, everyone, for these lovely reflections tonight from the devotees in cyberspace. They were so wonderful, deep, learned, proving the point that Prabhupada made again and again, that it's not possible for a devotee who's following the principles and chanting Hare Krishna not to have knowledge. Sometimes the impersonalists, they criticize the devotees because they're just naive sentimentalists. They don't really have knowledge because they're not studying the Vedanta Sutra. Oh, we're studying the Vedanta Sutra, all right. We're studying the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra by the author of the Vedanta Sutra. Hare Krishna. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. See you tomorrow night, same time, same place, same topic. The teachings of Queen Kunti. Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow. Hari Bol.